What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Dual Hemisphere Hangout. I'm one of your hosts, Luke, and join with me every single week. I do have my lovely co-host, Jake. Jake, go ahead and say hi to the people today.
Hello, everyone. Hello. How are we all doing today? We've been waiting.
We've been waiting. We've waited literally an entire year.
Yeah,
literally.
It was 365 days and a couple of hours, which is mental, absolutely mental. But it's here and it arrived.
It's here.
And we're a little bit late to the fray.
A little bit late. We had like a day to digest. To be honest with you, I watched the direct. We're gonna get into all the meat and the potatoes of it. I will say I think we were fairly accurate on our expectation. We're like, hey, I think we're gonna get this, and we might get a little something else. But besides that, don't get too excited. And I would say
I got baited.
They did
big time.
Yeah, you did. You're like you showed me the things like I think we're getting all the base games. I'm like, be real, that'd be awesome, but there's no way in hell we are getting those.
Yeah, I got hardcore baited.
But you can't trust those leakers, man.
Oh no, I saw it on the actual on the trailer, and I was like, this is it, when they were announcing another product, and I was like, oh, I called this big. And no.
And they're like,
no.
No. But yeah, guys, if you have not guessed it by now, this episode is solely going to be dedicated to the Pokemon Presents for Pokemon for this past Pokemon Day, the 27th. As of the day of recording, it's been about a day since we have since they've dropped the news. So we are honestly just going to be talking about everything regarding the direct. Not everything, because we're not going to talk about like the little mobile stuff. But we're going to talk about all the cool stuff that was announced.
I mean, we could glaze over it, but we won't have much input, I guess. Like we really won't have much to say.
I don't care about no damn sync pairs. But yeah, guys. I mean, I guess let's get the cat out of the bag. Do we want to? They announced one new IP, and they gave us the trailer for ZA. So, Jake, my question to you before we get started with this is: do we want to talk about the new IP, or do we want to talk about ZA first?
I'm more excited about the new IP. So
me too.
Let me get that on screen for people.
Okay.
For our listeners, the new IP is Pokémon Champions.
Let's go. I'm not gonna lie. I've been talking about this being a thing for a while now, like wanting it to be a thing. Like it's definitely Pokemon Champions is literally what I've been asking for the longest time, solely so people and specifically the Pokemon Company can actually just sit down and work on some fucking games. Because I feel like every generation, every 2 years we get a new gen, 2 or 3 years we get a new gen. And there's not much difference. The game, obviously the last couple of Switch games, even though Sword and Shield has now become more beloved than it first came out, and obviously Scarlet and Violet is still shit on for the right reasons. Champions is literally going to be the face of competitive Pokemon, VGC style competitive Pokemon forever. Like this literally solves the problem that the Pokemon Company has, and like in the sense of having to constantly make a game that is one well balanced, but two, giving them a little bit more creative freedom to do what they want to do with the game, right? Like I think like with Champions, the cool thing with Champions is it's really just a Switch better looking version of Showdown, which is honestly what everyone has wanted for the longest time.
Yeah, it's literal battle sim. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It is fun that they give us like home support. I don't know how that home support is going to function, because they said that you can't send it back. So to me, that is a clear play on rental teams, and you rent from your Pokemon home box. You don't physically send that Pokemon to Champions. You
Yeah. So,
or like
go ahead, Jake.
your home box will be just available in Champions, so you could just pick whatever you want.
Yeah. So what it is Jake. Did you ever play Pokemon Battle Revolution or at all? Like it was a Wii game. That was the
No.
last battle sim. Okay, yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a lot similar to that in the sense of you can move your Pokemon into Pokemon Battle Revolution, but they're not stuck there. They just read them out of the game's box. If you would connect your DS to the Pokemon Battle Revolution thing, and it would just pull your box from Diamond and Pearl, which is I guess what they're doing with Home. And so my question to this, and yeah, like you said, rental teams, you're going to be able to do the box. How do we think like they're going to make it like Shonen in the sense that we can the interface in the sense that we can build Pokemon to test out? Do you think that's going to be a thing? Because that's my only thing. Okay,
no.
cool. All right.
I don't think they're going to give us that, and
that would be cool though. That'd be really cool.
Well, it depends where they take the mainline story games. If they they'll never take battling completely out because the whole like gym leaders and stuff. But if they change the way the catching mechanics and the battle mechanics work, and they shift towards a Legends style in the main series games of you just catch, there's no EVs in Legends. So if they completely ditch it, then they have to give us sliders. They have to give us EV sliders and nature, which would make sense, but it goes against the whole Pokemon Company ethos of that's your Pokemon, you've trained it. It's like, and they've. I think we alluded to it in the last podcast. They needed to do something to combat cheating.
And this eliminates cheating.
This completely eliminates it to an extent if they give us sliders.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think what Pokemon can. So, I guess right now I'm fantasy booking what Pokemon Showdown is. I mean, Champions is because we have not. All we know is the battle sim coming. It's going to bring back. I believe to my knowledge, it's going to have all the Pokemon that you can physically catch in the games being able to be supported. They're going to have, as of right now, they've shown 2 gimmicks, that being Terra and Mega being in the game.
Which they had to because it's the 2 most recent games.
Yeah, the 2 most recent ones. So my thing is, are they going to be able to get specific Pokemon? So you see, let's just say, for example, like we want to go back and do, let's just say we're doing a tournament and it's just Mega Evolutions or whatever. How are we getting those Pokemon? You know what I mean? Like, are we getting them from our home box? Are we getting them from ZA? Are we going to actually be able to, like you said, rent them, like, per se, in the thing and have the sliders where we can pick their moves and stuff like that? Because that's my dream. My dream is for you to be able to, if you catch the Pokemon and you put it in Champions, you should be able to have the free ability to have it learn whatever move you want, or whatever move that it can learn, free access to EVs and IVs, natures, and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that should be the goal and the dream, to make it accessible to everyone, which is one thing that Pokemon has always been about, is making things accessible to everyone. And this eliminates the fact, other than if they're just going to do straight up rental codes, which I'm assuming they're going to keep, like they do with Scarlet and Violet. But it makes it accessible for people who want to get into this without having to physically spend. I mean, it's not that long anymore. You probably need to spend maybe like 30 minutes to fully train up a Pokemon nowadays in Scarlet and Violet.
It's not a lot. It's really not a lot.
But to someone like me and you, it's not a lot. But maybe to someone who's first getting into it, maybe it is a lot. Right?
Well, one Pokemon isn't a lot. I'll tell you now, when you're having to make... Well, me and Nick were very lucky when we entered Liverpool Regionals. That it was our only regional we've ever done, and we had kind of played the game till its death. So we had every item under the sun. We had bags of money. And even then, it still took us about 4 hours to build a team. Now, imagine trying to do that with no resources. I suppose what they could do is if they base it off, they've put a lot of highlight on national dex completion at the moment.
Nice.
It's like you go into BDSP and you get your shiny, what was it? Not Mellow. You get something for completing the BDSP one. And you get another shiny mythical for completing the Sword and Shield decks, and another one for completing the Scarlet and Violet decks. What I imagine they're going to do is they're going to link it to, like you said, you have to have caught the Pokemon, and you have to transported it into home, and then at that point, if you link it to their Pokedex in Pokemon Home, and it's got a little tick box saying they've caught it, you're allowed to use it in Champions. Unfortunately, that will probably not be the case. It'll be you have to have the physical Mon in the box.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to drag it over. You do raise a good point, though, Luke, of, like, this isn't... Everyone's just looking at Mons, and they forget that you need the item to Mega.
Yeah.
Like, you need an item to become Primal Kyogre. Are they just going to give us these items, or do we need to get them?
Because, and so that's where I'm thinking of it too, and I'm thinking about moves, right? Like how, like what, like I'm assuming there's gonna probably be like 4 modes. There's probably gonna be a free mode where there's no like restrictions on like moves being from Gen 3 versus Gen 8. There's probably going to be a ranked one where this is where they're going to officially put the official VGC format, because this is where VGC is going. Regardless of
100%.
what games come out, this is the way Pokemon's going to be played competitively in the VGC style. Because I mean, they literally showed double battles, which is now if they showed a single battle, I would have been like, all right, maybe this isn't the case. But they showed double battles, which is the VGC format, and this is where VGC is going to live. It's going to get updated, and this is where it's going to live for the rest of its time. Because what it does. Yeah, I'm happy about it because what it does really, and why I'm excited for this, is what it does is it gives Pokemon time to make Generation 10 as good as possible. Because now they're not rushing. Like they don't have to like worry about playing and they don't have to worry about doing so many different formats in Scarlet and Violet for the competitive scene. Now, I don't think the competitive scene by any means is a priority for the Pokemon company, but I also think Pokemon sees it as this is the only thing keeping Scarlet and Violet alive, and how much longer is VGC going to be able to keep Scarlet and Violet alive? And they're like, probably not obvious to them. It's coming out sometime. I didn't say, I think it said soon, coming soon. So sometime this year, we're probably going to be getting it. And this is where VGC is going to be for probably the next, I mean, forever, but like it's going to give them a good year to 2 years for Gen 10. Which I think we get a Generation 10 announcement next Pokemon Day, which is next year, for either release in 2027 or release in fall of 2026. And it gives them a whole nother year for VGC to move here, where they can do Mega Evolutions, bring those back again. If they want to bring back a Terra again with it, you could have those 2 gimmicks, like they had Z moves and Megas. They could have Terra and Mega, which would be kind of cool to have again. So I think this is where it moves, and honestly, this was the thing I was hyped about the most. This is literally going to change competitive Pokemon forever. And I think there's so many cool questions about it, but I think the thing that they need to make sure they do it right is if people are saying this is the Showdown killer, don't think it's quite going to be the Showdown killer, because the thing that Showdown has is team building. And now this game has a team building aspect like Pokemon Showdown, which in my opinion they should fucking just do it, because all it is a bunch of fucking pixels and sprites at the end of the day. And I know it goes against Pokemon's whole you caught it, it's your buddy kind of thing, but like it's just a bunch of pixels and sprites. They should be able to give us a team. If I catch a Charizard and I bring it to Pokemon Home, all right, to keep the whole I caught it thing, I should be able to freely, in my opinion, be able to change its nature, change its moves, change its EVs and IVs by just clicking a bunch of buttons on the Switch and doing it that way, because I went through the process of catching the Pokemon. It's training it up. I feel like, and the item, etc. Like I think they're gonna have that stuff in there, and I think it's going to be a good thing. My only concern is I don't think it's going to be that big of a concern because Pokemon's never really been microtransaction-y with the thing, and the only reason I'm concerned is because it's coming to mobile as well. Is microtransactions and what that might do, and I can see them putting Pokemon customization, like what I just talked about, under like a microtransaction tab. Like, oh, for you to be able to have that freedom, you have to give us $10 a month. Which, to be fair, I'd probably pay that. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think they do that. That's putting it definitely behind a paywall. I can see them doing like stadiums and like battle stadiums. Like you can buy like your favorite gym leader. Like, say my favorite gym leader is Brock. Like I want to battle in Pewter City Gym, so I'll buy that, and then I can see that. I can't see them doing cosmetics for the Pokemon.
For the trainers, because, for sure.
Well, for the trainers, 100%. Cosmetics for Pokemon like Unite, definitely not.
No, absolutely not.
Although it's very like simulated, you have to see what's going on in the battlefield, and so in effect they cannot change. Like I'm looking at this stadium on the screen that they announced. I don't think that stadium is going to show terrains very well. Like it was a big like thing in Sword and Shield that you couldn't see the terrains very well. Like, it was just cloudy, and then it had, like, a hint of a color. So if you miss the notification of the grassy terrain's gone away. So I'm hoping, like, maybe this stadium, because it looks like LED and futuristic, maybe when grassy terrain comes up, the whole field goes green. So you know.
That'd be interesting. Because
the weathers are obvious, right? Like, you can see the weathers.
Are obvious. Yes.
Obviously, like I was going back to in terms of customization and stuff, it will probably just be like stadiums and gyms, all that. I could see that happening. I'm just super excited about it. I think I think it's amazing. They should have done it years ago, but I'm glad that they've actually done it and they've put a Game Freak and Nintendo IP on it. Like, it's just
yeah, for sure. And I think and again, like, I can't harpen back to it because I'm going to harpen back because I think this is literally the best thing that they could possibly do for Pokemon. Is I feel like Pokemon always gets themselves in this terrible release cycle of we have to get this game out here, here, and here. And I feel like, and we'll talk about it with ZA, I feel like Pokemon kind of is taking their foot off the gas and like, you know what, we're going to bring out the game when the game is ready now. We're not going to be pushing it for yada, yada, yada. And this thing does help it because it keeps competitive Pokemon alive in the sense of like, if we are done with Scarlet and Violet, we can just be done with it. And there's going to be a new game out like ZA that we'll be able to enjoy for 2 years until Gen 10's ready. And I think it gets off that yearly release cycle that Pokemon was kind of on there for a little while, where every year there was a new like Pokemon mainline spin-off, mainline spin-off kind of thing. And it gives Game Freak the ability to make sure they are polishing up their games, which is by far when we get to it, when we talk about it, I guess this is a perfect time to transition to it, is exactly what they did with ZA. Because Legends ZA,
they threw everything out of the window with Legends ZA.
Yeah, like they threw the kitchen sink, the proverbial kitchen sink with Legends ZA. Like
everything that we were supposed to like. Pokemon, like Luke said, follows a fit cycle that you would expect. Like it gives the leakers some sort of like credibility in a way because they can decipher what's going on. As you can see on the screen, if you're listening, that as soon as they revealed the starters, it basically threw every leaker out. Nintendo have obviously done a fantastic job of sacking everyone that leaked a year ago because not a single thing has got out. Champions wasn't even like people were talking about Pokemon Stadium, but I think it's just like, of course, you could have guessed that. But I think I saw
it made logical sense for them to do this. Do a Champions. It made logical sense. Like if they were because I think the one thing Pokemon is realizing now, even though they don't put too much emphasis on it, the competitive side of Pokemon has been keeping Pokemon Scarlet and Violet running, like the player base active as competitive Pokemon. And I think they realized that, which was why they were probably, we need to shift because Legends ZA is not going to have competitive battling, and our competitive players are not going to go stay in Scarlet and Violet for 2 more years. So we have to come up with an alternative, which is why we got Champions. So I think that was a logical decision that anyone could probably think that could be something to happen. But yeah, the leaguers were completely wrong.
They said we were getting new megas. We didn't. They had all these theories about what was going on. They were all wrong. There was one leak that I saw that got these starters right. And it was a physical screenshot, of like a pre-dev build of Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. And it released very close to the actual Pokemon Day release. And I only saw that afterwards. After 100%. This came out. But going back to the point of where they've just thrown everything out of the window, is we got 2 Johto starters. So they usually they would mix it up and give us different from we're taking the old Legends, for example. They give us one from a different generation. So why wouldn't they follow that? But obviously not. What I do think is someone brought. Sorry, look, I keep interrupting. But what I do think is why they've put Chikorita in here. I don't think Chikorita was supposed to be here. But I've seen, obviously in the trailer, it used a move called Disarming Voice. If people don't know what that is, it's a fairy type move. It would be unbeknownst to assume that this Chikorita is only in Legends ZA because it's about to get a buff.
Yeah.
Because it's the worst starter of every starter under the sun.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
That's pure grass.
So I think Chikorita wasn't supposed to be here. It was supposed to be like Snivy or Rowlet or some. Well, we had Rowlet last time, but like maybe Bulbasaur. But like, they threw Chikorita in because this is the easiest way for them to give us a buff to Meganium without having to do it in a main series game. Because they can't do it in a main series game.
No, they can't, but they also can, because what's going to end up happening is what this trailer has done for me is showed me that Legends is whatever the fuck the Pokemon company want it to be. Legends is just a non-traditional, like I think of it just, if you want to make the long version of it, it's Pokemon non-traditional game version X. Like it's not traditional at all. It is not a traditional Pokemon game. It's given us weird starters. We're not going to be getting Calician forms of Pokemon because this game looks like it's taken place 20 years after X and Y, maybe. Just looking at like some little things, some theories I've seen, and the updates, and I could not be happier with the continued, let's just do something new that Pokemon's doing. They're not playing, I don't think this, like, the way they could have played this safe is if they just did this and said either we're going into the past or we're going into the future, and it's just Legends, the same kind of thing. This just looks like a almost like Pokemon XD Gale Pokemon Coliseum-esque game where I feel like it's just going to be a story and you're going to be able to free roam, catch Pokemon in battle. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm so down and okay with that so much more. Like, I did not think I wanted this until I saw it. Like, the fact, and we'll get to it, like, they took away the turn base of Pokemon. It is literally a stand. It is literally, you click absorb.
It's Xenoblade. They've just.
It's literally, it plays like Xenoblade.
To Xenoblade.
Yeah, it literally is Xenoblade in the sense of you press absorb and you gotta wait. this is the first time in a fucking game where we can actually reenact Ash and be like, Bulbasaur, dodge. Because that's the thing.
To me,
we can make them dodge the moves.
It gives me visuals of what's the Tekken? Pokken. It gives it gives me the visuals of that. I feel like they kind of discontinued it, but then they brought it back in this format, which I love. I think the battles look amazing. Whether I'll be good at the battling is another story, because usually I'm not good at these type of games. I like my turn-based, where I just sit there and click buttons. This is a bit more involved. I do think I want to touch back on you said that we're not getting Calisonian forms or whatever. I think we might. Basically what this confirms, the status confirms, is that these lot are getting megas, right? We're getting Mega Feraligatr, we're getting Mega Emboar, and Mega Meganium. I don't think these will get a regional form, but I do think other mons will.
Okay,
fair, and I think they'll go down the I saw one theory which actually stood out to me quite a lot, was that Azzy's Azzy's Floette has a name.
Yeah.
It's Eternal Flower.
Yeah.
The only double barrel names we have at the moment are Paradox Mons. Iron Crown, Iron Valiant, Great Tusk. It's safe to say that, well, it's not safe to say, but it's down the line to assume that Eternal Flower is a Paradox Mon. It's from 3,000 years ago. This game, they're talking about leveling up the city, and we've got Galactica, or whatever the place is called. What's it called? Galactic something. I'm going to assume that they're going to futurize the city. We've got, like, the trailer was all futuristic, and it's all going that way. I would be safe to say that I wouldn't be surprised as we play the game, we get introductions of Paradox Mons, because we time traveled back with Arceus. We're about to time travel forward in some sort of like reverse Assassin's Creed type enter the like the Matrix, and there will be forms of Pokemon in that wild area. So you'll have a Paradox form of Fletchinder, like in that wild area, but you're in the future. That's what I could see. Because I don't know X and Y, because Mega's from the past, right? That was the original basis of the story. Like, there was a Mega Tower, and the stones are like forged, and so I don't think they'll carry Megas into the future in a way. So we'll get Megas of existing Pokemon, and then maybe some new ones, which I do think we will get.
Oh yeah, we're going to get new Megas. They're going to give us new Megas,
I think we'll get completely new Pokemon here as well. Obviously, we like in Legends Arceus, we had Cleavor. That was a brand new one. What else did we have? Ursaluna.
Personally, I think what's going to end up happening is, I think, like, this whole plot of this game is going to revolve around there's going to be more Pokemon, because AZ's Floette, how did that thing come back? Was it just alive this whole time?
It returned to him, right? Like, you beat everything, and then AZ comes to you at the end, where it's that whole ceremony of, like, you saved the world from eternal darkness or whatever. And then his Floette just comes back down, because I assume that it went away because there was disruption in the world, and it's a bit like Mew, where it's like it's meant to be like some peace Pokemon.
Yeah, so my theory is that this game's new Pokemon, new formed Pokemon, are going to be like that Floette. They're going to be eternal Pokemon, in the sense that they come from the past, and that they somehow survived the nuclear war thing that happened, the fallout, and they are coming back, and they are wreaking havoc. And I think that's where we get into the new Pokemon. And I think that's where we get into, I guess, maybe like boss Pokemon per se, if that's even going to be a thing. Because
I hope it is. I
I
liked
honestly
the.
don't. I did too. I honestly don't know if they are going to go that route. I don't know what I don't know what a Legends game is other than it's a non-traditional Pokemon, because this is absolutely nothing like Arceus at all.
This I didn't like. So for the audio viewers, I've just got the trailer on in the background. Jumping off a roof and then just having Rotom Phone pick us up.
Yeah, it's a little lame. A little lame.
I get that it gives us like traversal, but
Yeah.
like I don't like that. Carry on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say is like, because I'm looking at it and this, because it just doesn't. What this thing does is it doesn't look like a traditional Arceus game either. Looks nothing like Arceus. It doesn't
They
seem
have
like it
redone the
plays like
models,
Arceus.
which I
Yeah, it doesn't
assume
look
they
like.
had to do because these are the models that we're going to see in Champions.
Yes.
Um,
And there's our megas. All right, and they kind of already confirmed it's going to be all the megas because they showed Mega Altaria. So that's the hub. There's AZ and his Floette.
this
And
whole like hotel thing I don't get
mhm.
as well. Like,
Yeah,
I
I feel like the
guess
hotels. I feel like they got to give us a hub, kind of like the hub in ZA where you would just walk in. Um,
this I'm
but
unsure of at the end. I imagine this is Battle Tower. I've seen
yeah,
people linking it to the grayed out area in Scarlet and Violet. I honestly don't think
hmm
that's the case.
no, no,
I think this is like Prison Tower has got like a battle event on, and
mm,
it's like what it will be. It'll be traditional battling. It'll be a place in the game where you can do traditional battling. Um, or
mm,
it is just like the new form of battling that we've got, but you could do it versus Ash or Blue or Cynthia, or like it will be
yeah.
a generic battle tree in the Legends ZA format.
Well,
Um,
why would they show that? Like, my question is, why show that now? Like, what is that teasing? Like, is that a thing? Is that tease going to sell us on getting ZA? Like, I feel like it's got to mean something a little bit more than just you get to battle other people. It's got
well,
to be a plot point. It's got to
maybe,
be a plot point.
but like I think people will be. It will divide people. I think they know that this form of battling is not for everyone.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
Well, that's why they're giving us champions, and I bet you. I'm 95% sure champions is going to be free.
oh, it
Like,
has
it's
to
not
be.
going to cost.
It's on
Yeah, it's
mobile.
not going to.
If it
Yeah,
wasn't
it's not
on
going to
mobile, I
cost me
think they'd
money.
pay. We'd have to pay.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's not going to
um,
cost me money. So I feel like they're not worried about giving people what they want, because I feel like people will just go to champions to play champion, like traditional Pokemon battles. Because
I
I'm assuming all the Pokemon you can get in ZA you can bring to champions,
yes,
right?
100%. Because that's where you're getting your
So
megas from. Because or
yeah.
else they're banking on you having a Nintendo DS with X, Y, Sun and Moon. Because those are your mega games, right? That's the
Yeah,
only
they're not banking on that. They ain't banking on that. There's too many new Pokemon fans for that shit. Too
no,
many.
and you can't expect people to in the retro market at the moment, which I've been in.
Yeah. No, 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 no.
I'm
There's no.
my wallet has been raided all because I wanted to get another copy of. Well, I had an original copy of Heart Gold and I lost it, so I wanted another one. And then I also wanted Black 2. And then
Yeah.
oh god, my wallet got raided. So they
Yeah.
can't
No.
expect anyone to do that.
No, they can't. And that's why I think that little teaser that we saw at the end has got to be something more tied. And so, I mean, Jake, I guess the be all end all question for you for this game is this what you wanted? Two, where do you see this going? And three, what the fuck is a Legends game? Because I don't know anymore.
um, let me think. So did I? Is it? First question was this? Was it what I expected? Um,
Yeah.
yes. In
Okay.
all honesty, yes. We've got the battle style caught me a bit off guard, but
Okay.
I don't think it's out of the ordinary. Like it's not
Okay.
so crazy where it's like, oh my god, this isn't Pokemon anymore. What am I gonna do? I'm losing my mind. Get me out
Yeah.
of here.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, sorry, I'm just closing off little bits and bobs. Um, I like it. I like it a lot. I will buy it. I think it's got great promise. The one pet peeve for me is that I don't think the city is as big as I expected it to be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which would have obviously it's going to be huge. It is.
Yes.
It's going to be huge, but they haven't portrayed it as big.
No.
Especially like looking at Wild Area 6 and maybe 8, which
Mm-hmm.
is the I would assume is like late game, unless they've
Mm-hmm.
got like 20 wild areas. But I would assume Wild Area 8 is fairly late game. That looked
Yeah.
pretty small to me. I know you've got the verticality of that you can go on roofs and stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that we're trapped in the city, there's just something that really annoyed me there for some
Yeah.
reason. I enjoyed
Yeah.
Legends Arceus for the openness of being in a field and
Mm-hmm.
looking at all the Pokemon in the natural habitat, and now they're not in a natural habitat. It's
Yeah.
just like, how do
It's
they
a
spawn there? Like,
yeah.
it's
It's a definitely an interesting choice that what they've gone for in this, and I'm just more interested to see where the story is going to play out. That's where I'm interested because I will say the one thing that Legends Arceus did, they gave us a good story. Like it was actually
oh
a pretty
yeah,
solid. Yeah, it was a really pretty solid
it
Pokemon
had
story.
really good
So I'm real.
twists with like
Yeah, I had a really.
Komodo being evil, even though you could kind of tell that
Mm-hmm.
he was evil at the start, but he wasn't. And then who was the guy before Komodo that was like his little assistant,
Um.
the shop guy that turns on you?
Yeah.
He's like a ninja
Mm-hmm.
dude. And then yeah, bloody was it Zolo at the end? Oh
Yeah.
my god,
Mm-hmm.
with the Giratina.
Yeah.
If we get
Yeah.
anything on the
Exactly.
scale of that, like we're
Yeah.
cooking.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just to make sure that they do it right. They're giving us twists and turns because what this game is going to rely on bigger than most is going to be their story. Because I think that's what sets this game, these types of games up. Because if you're not going to do a traditional go collect 8 badges, gonna defeat the champion, catch some Pokemon, all right, you're done kind of game, which is a traditional Pokemon game, you're gonna have to have a story to balance it out to get people invested in trying something new. What's going to keep them to going to try something that's completely different, right? This is not your traditional Pokemon
Do you
game.
think we'll keep
You're,
gyms? Because I don't think we may have like
I
boss
don't,
battles and stuff, but I've got a feeling that like we're gonna
I
have a
think,
similar gym style because
I think we're gonna have a non-traditional like esque gyms. Like not like they're not going to be called gyms, but there'll be challenges against like the area leader for Sector One, like the guy who's in charge of Sector One, making sure maybe the Pokemon are still happy and whatnot, all that fun stuff. I think they'll be like that, but I don't think it would be a tradition. You walk in a gym and you collect a badge. I think you challenge the sector leader and they allow you to go to Sector Two, or they allow you to go to Sector Three. And so I think that's the way they're going to do it that way, I think. But yeah, this story's got a lot of potential. And I like your theory about them going into the future a lot. I think that's going to be really cool. I think that's going to be where, like you kind of mentioned, like the boss Pokemon are going to be. Because I think they're going to try to experiment with creating new technology. And the only reason why I don't necessarily think it's going to be iron esque Pokemon like the other ones is because I think it's kind of unfair to the prehistoric Pokemon because they're not going to be getting any new prehistoric ones. You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
feel like they're going to, I think they're going to go the eternal route with it. And I think they're going to be bringing Pokemon either from the future or from the past, or they're just going to be called eternal, like they've escaped from somewhere. And I think that's where we're going to get our new Pokemon and our us like Pokemon, which are going to be where we see our Kalos forms, or I'm going to call them eternal forms, because I feel like that's what a Kalos form Pokemon is. I feel like that is, even though Floette is a Pokemon in the Kalos decks, I can see that being like a Kalosian Floette because it's like no other Floettes we have. And I feel like that's where they're going to go with it. I think they're going to call it eternal. They're going to be called eternal Pokemon.
I
I
do
think
think
the
as
whole
well. There is one like in my head, knowing that they've pulled from other games, and we know that they've got Zelda developers as well, that they snagged for, well, specifically Gen 10, but I imagine they've had some input on this. Is we've seen the verticality aspect of it. I reckon we're going underground as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the map is if the map is what they've shown and how far we can traverse one area, if they're going up, they're definitely going down as well.
Yeah,
And that
there's
puts
gonna
like
be
a whole of
mines.
a spin on what's underneath, whether it be
Mhm.
a bit like BDSP Underground, where you've got little areas where Dex mons can spawn once you've completed the Pokedex to
Mhm.
expand the areas, whether that be like that's where the evil team are kind of hanging out in
Mhm.
some like underground bases and whatever. I think that will be
Yeah.
a nice twist.
Mhm.
And then I imagine they're gonna DLC it, right? Do you reckon they're
No.
gonna DLC it and give us like an extra area or two? Because I think they
No.
can. Um,
They can. I don't think they will though. I don't think they will okay. I think they will only if we're not getting Generation 10 by 2026.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
because
Gen
they
10 is
don't
meant
need
to be
to.
close, but I don't know how close we are
I
to
think
it.
I think we get Gen 10 within the 30th year mark. Whenever the 30th year anniversary is, which
So
would
3 years,
be
so that 2027.
no, next year.
Well, no, wait, this is 27th anniversary, right?
No,
This
I
is
think
a
it's the 29th.
no, I think it's 27th.
No.
Yeah, bro, let me Google. Let me grab up Google.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Is it are we sure we're not in the 29th?
Where does it?
Are we in the
Po-
27th? Has it
Pokemon
been to
anniversary. That was yeah, because we've only just had the 25th, and that was when was the 25th?
I want to say the 25th was like three,
Oh
four
no, yeah,
years ago.
yeah, okay, yeah. 27th will be 2026. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess
So
Gen
no, you're
10.
right. You're right. You're right. No, you're right. Then yeah, then we're not going to get Gen 10 by the 30th. No, okay, I was wrong. I for some reason thought we were on the 29th anniversary of Pokemon.
No,
Pokemon's about to be.
we
Wait,
are,
are
but I
we?
don't think the
Oh,
game is going to be ready in 2026. I think they're going to announce it and it's going to come out in 2027.
okay. All right.
To me, them releasing Champions tells me that Gen 10 is not ready.
Okay. Okay, fair. Okay. That's where I was going with it. Because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, the 29th anniversary of Pokemon. The 30th is where we're gonna get the announcement for Gen
Yes.
10, being kind of like the big, I don't say the end of Pokemon because it won't be the end of Pokemon, obviously, but like the kind of culmination of the first 10 generations of Pokemon, which I think will be their biggest game, their best game. Like you said, they're snatching Zelda developers. Their intention for Generation 10 is to make it the kind of like, I honestly, they're going to do what they did with Gen 5, because Gen 5 was like a halfway point where
Huge.
they're like, all right, we're going to make it big. We're going to create 150 new Pokemon. You're not going to be able to catch any of the old Pokemon. I think they're going to do that kind of aspect with Generation 10. And I think Generation 10 is going to be the new launching pad for what Pokemon will be for the next 10 years. And then for that reason alone, depending on when they announce Generation 10 and when it's released, I don't think we're going to get DLC. I think they're going to be okay with letting Pokemon live on Champions and letting Pokemon live on this. And I think maybe they'll give us like a little side thing. Maybe they'll throw in a black and white remake make in between those two. Maybe to keep us satiated. But I think they're going to be comfortable, because I think if they can make Legends a good game that has replayability, I think, because I'm gonna be real, feel like people stayed and played Arceus for a while.
I
I
still
feel
play
like
them now.
Arceus. I feel like Arceus is one of those games you can constantly go back to. You can constantly do something, as long as they give you something to do and they make it like a traditional RPG where there's obviously collecting Pokemon, but collecting the Zygarde cells, shiny hunting being a big thing there as well. New megas, maybe having fun little, like, a lot of like RPGs. What they do gauntlets for battles, so like
Yeah.
having your Pokemon survive gauntlets of 8 trainers in a row, and to see who can last the longest. Like they could probably do a lot with that sides of things, which is I don't think we'll get DLC for it. Maybe if we do, I think it's going to be free DLC like they did with what was it, Daybreak or whatever we got
Oh,
with
can't remember.
ZA. I mean with Arceus. Remember Arceus got like a weird DLC? It was like Daybreak or something like that. It was a free DLC. Or maybe it was an update. Maybe it was an update. It wasn't a DLC. It was an update.
Oh, that added the raids in, right? Like the outbreaks.
Yeah.
Which I think they were
That
meant
was
to
like
do from the start, but obviously didn't have time
yeah, fair.
because it was already announced. So we're
Yeah.
like, right, let's just release it and then we'll give it an update.
Yeah, call it a special update. Okay.
So yeah, I would like to see it. I just don't want to be trapped in the city, man. Like
I think
I'm
we're trapped in
praying
the
that
city.
I'm praying that there's like some sort of like where you can transport to a different area or
I
like
think we'll go underground, and I think we'll go. If we're gonna take your theory that they're going to go into the future, I think we'll go to the future that way and be able to traverse around there. I don't think it'll be nearly as big as the city. I think the city is going to be the biggest part of the game, and I think the map they showed us is making us seem like it's a small area, when in fact I don't think it's going to be as small as they're making it seem to us. I think these areas are going to be big. I think they're going to be making it very big, a lot of areas to explore. I think they will have the skyline with the rooftops. And like I said, I think they will go underground because they do mention the underground parts of Lumio City as well, which I think is where we'll get get like maybe older Pokemon and like cave dwelling Pokemon. Because if I remember correctly in X and Y, there's a lot of caves in that game, actually. Like cave areas in that game. So I can definitely see them doing that as well because somewhere Zygarde's got to be somewhere, and that motherfucker was in the ground.
Yeah, he's not in
When
the
we found him
city.
in X, yeah,
He's
he's
not in the sea.
underground. Yeah, he's underground.
My guy's just walking around.
Yeah, his dog forms in the city, but that the lizard man, he's underground. He's just chilling.
I suppose what I'm hoping for is some sort of like
stones.
Area Zero type area.
I think they'll give us. I think they'll give us that. I think they will. They have to. I feel like it just. I mean, again, we've only gotten the first trailer. We're doing a lot of hypotheticals right now. We're gonna learn more. This game's coming out towards the end of the year, probably right around
I reckon
September, October area. So we're probably gonna get a couple. We're gonna probably get a thing about the direct. We'll probably get another quick Pokemon Presents somewhere in the summertime that kind of finalizes like they're gonna show more because they really did show too much gameplay. But it's everyone's favorite part when every time a new Pokemon trailer comes out and every time a new game comes out, everyone's theory crafting and coming up with these great things, which is honestly the beauty of Pokemon, and I'm super excited for it. But I feel like we will be doing this discussion in Injustice because they're one thing that we love our Mega Evolutions so very very much, and we are going to be getting new Megas. So before we wrap up this episode, Jake, and this might be a long part too. I don't know how long we're going to talk about this, but I want you to give me your 3 hopes for new Megas, and I want you to tell me what you want them to be, and I want you to tell me their types, and I am all here for it. So go ahead, man.
Oh god. So one that I think we will be getting, like confirmed, is you know the Vinny guy, the guy with the glasses, the secretary. He has in his top knot, he has Buneri and he has Pangoro. Well, Lopunny already has a Mega, so I would pretty much like nail on the head that Pangoro's getting one, and I'm pretty sound with that.
Okay.
I do love a good Pangoro. I'd have to look at the Kalos decks to be honest. Because I'm assuming that they're just going to pick out from X and Y to begin with.
I don't think so.
I've got a feeling they're going to lock us in main story, and we'll get like, what have we got in Kalos that could potentially get a Mega?
Not a whole lot.
No, I'd like to see Mega Masquerain. I like Masquerain a lot. You know what? It's got to be Pyro, right?
Yeah. Pyro will get one.
It's 100% going to be Pyro. We could see like some, like you said, like a super Floette, but given that Florges is there, Floette's a weird one. Vesperquen, Mega Vesperquen, I guess.
I mean, that is a Generation 4 Pokemon, so.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I'm just scrolling down the decks to see what's in
Yeah,
here.
you're looking at like what's like you're looking
Mega
at like what's in
Shedinja.
Kalos. Oh hell no, that'd be awful.
Oh, it's Haxorus. 100, like,
Okay.
yeah, like every other dragon's got a mega, right? Dragon
Well,
doesn't.
there's
Garchomp
well,
does.
I mean,
Salamence
there's
does.
one. Mm-hmm. Altaria has one.
Yep.
Flygon doesn't have one, and they won't give it to us because they know we want it.
Oh, I don't know. I think they will. I think they will.
I think they give it to us. That'd be nice, but I don't think they will. I think they'll be like, "Fuck you, no, you don't
No,
get it," because they leaked it. Because they leaked it. Because they leaked it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because they said it, they don't get it. I think
Yeah.
Haxorus is 100% getting one.
Okay.
Ones I would love to. I think Pyro is 100% getting one. Pangoro is 100% getting one. And the ones that I would like to see, I would like to see Masquerain get one. And I'm really excited to see what Mega Feraligatr looks like.
Yes.
And Mega Meganium.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm excited for those. I'm excited for the starter megas because I can only imagine a fairy type grass fairy Meganium, which I think would be dope. Like I think they could do such cool things. I think the way the starters are going to go is they're going to have to what was it? Fighting Ghost Dark. So they're probably going to go
well, they're locked into Fairy Steel,
Dragon Steel.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get a Grass Fairy Meganium. I think we're going to get a Fire Steel Emboar, and I think we're going to get a Water Dragon Alligator.
Yep.
And I think that's sick. That's sick. Like that's so cool. Like I like imagining a dragon type Feraligatr is like the coolest thing in the world to me. I don't even know how it would look. Like it's not getting wings, but it's probably gonna get like not like it's gonna probably get like the Druddigan treatment. Like it's gonna be kind of like I don't know, it's gonna be cool. I don't know how they're gonna do it, man, but that's gonna be sick if they do that. Because they're not gonna do a fire dragon Emboar. They're not gonna do they gave Meganium's not gonna be a dragon type. Unless they just say fuck it and we're not gonna give you what you think you think. You think you're gonna get secondary typings that balance. Too bad we're just gonna do whatever we want because we threw Tepig and Chikorita in the mix of starters. So who knows? But that would be sick. Megas that I want to see, obviously, selfishly, I want to see Mega Flygon. Obviously, like that's
Charizard Z.
We don't get that. They won't.
They are 100% giving us Charizard Z. It's a meme at this point. They have to.
No, they won't. They won't do that shit. They won't do. They might give us like a boss like Charizard in the game, maybe that you can like battle or something like that. But yeah, we're gonna get a Mega Flygon. I would love to see Mega Flygon just be a thing. If they were gonna give a Kalos Pokemon a Mega, I would honestly love to see like a Mega Goodra. That'd be kind of cool. Even though I feel like Goodra got an extra form, in that one, or maybe like a Mega Noivern. That would be sick. Noivern definitely could use some Mega love a little bit. I think that'd be kind of sick to see a Mega Noivern. And then like a wish list for a Pokemon that I want to have a Mega that I feel like truly needs a Mega. I honestly think like Mega Golurk kind of fits Kalos really, really well for some reason. I don't know why, because I feel like it's got like a kind of like nightly kind of thing going on, and I feel like a Mega Golurk would be freaking sick. Like I think that would be really, really cool. And yeah, there's gonna be. I think max we're gonna get 10 new Megas. I think they're gonna give us 10 new Megas. So they're gonna have to give us 3 for the starters, and I think they're gonna give us 7 more of the Pokemon here. And so I'm excited for Megas coming back. And yeah, Pokemon Legends EA, the announcement did not disappoint. It definitely left me with more questions than I did had. And it just goes to show, I think the lesson here when it comes to Pokemon and Pokemon Presents is, guys, don't listen to the hackers all the time. The hackers, the data leakers, the hackers, the the Logics and Centrals and stuff like that. Honestly, guys, I mean, what this has gone to show is Pokemon can do whatever the fuck they want to do at the end of the day, and we're all gonna buy it regardless. So just shut up, whip up your credit cards, guys, because we're gonna be on a fun ride. This Pokemon game is going to be pretty good. I honestly think it's going to be better than Legends Arceus 100%. I think they're going to nail down the formula a lot. I think the story is going to be just as good. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm so happy that they went for a more colorful version because while I did like Scarlet and Violet's graphics, some of the Pokemon just looked a little off. And I like the vibrancy of the Pokemon. I love the way the Pokemon look. I love the way the colors pop. It's the Pokemon in the background when you don't freeze the goddamn frame and pause and be like, oh, look how shit it looks. Well, fucker, it's in development still, and it's a freaking trailer. Chill out with the roof tiles, y'all.
One thing I do think that we do need to touch on, just last minute, it's just popped into my head. Is this Switch 2? Or is it Switch?
It's coming to both Switch and Switch 2, because the Switch 2 is going to come out around the same time. I think it's going to be made for the Switch, and you can play for the Switch 2. I don't think the Switch 2 is going to be the game that Pokemon is like. They're not putting their eggs in this basket by putting Legends ZA just on Switch 2. It's going to be able to play on both because there's just not enough player base by the time this game's supposed to launch in early 2020, late 2025, and when the Switch is supposed to launch, which is in the summer of 2025. Like, it's not enough install player base for them to make a strictly Switch 2 game. It will be able to play on both, because also what they would have done, they would not have shown the Nintendo just Switch logo. They would have shown the Switch 2 logo if it was solely for Nintendo Switch in the trailer.
That's true. I just feel like if you get it on the OG console, you are not getting the vibrancy that you want. Like, looking at a couple of the renders and stuff, like they do look like they're called like mod packs. So it is in game, but it's upscaled. Effectively, what we could do on PC. I imagine the Switch 2 is similar to these graphics.
Well, I feel like,
and it'll be very close.
As long as it's not such a like it's so bad, like it's so noticeable, like this is not the same game that they showed in the trailer running on the Switch, they'll be fine. Because again, like if you're going to, because what happens if when a game is made for the Switch or for a previous console's generation, most of the time the console itself that it's being played on, like if you're playing a PS4 game on the PS5, is going to look like you would play. It's not going to look better on the PS5. It's just going to look like a normal PlayStation 4 game. And I think unless the Switch 2, the Pokemon ZA comes out with two separate games, one for the Switch 2, I don't think the graphic fidelity is going to be any different, because I feel like upscaling a game's hardware to match this software is not something that
this is
done.
The conundrum that they have, and I think that no, it's not done easily at all. I mean, you can just like crank it down, I guess. Like, so you'd lock it to 30 FPS and then lock it to 720p, which would probably perform okay. But the release of Champions as well speaks to me that this is a flagship Switch 2 release, and you'll have to buy the console for it. You can do traditional Pokemon battling. Congratulations, you can do it on your mobile now. It's in Champions. They have no reason to support the Switch anymore. It's gone. And I think Nintendo know, like you said, you're going to get your wallet out, you're going to buy it either way.
Yeah, no, I see. That's the thing. They
did it when it transitioned from DS to Switch. There was a hard cut, and you know that it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming, but I don't think it's coming yet. I think we got another year to two. Because
I don't think this game is coming out on Switch. I don't. Because it's not main series, so they don't need to give it you.
It's coming out on Switch. There's no way. I
don't think it is. Honestly, They don't. It's not main series. It's not Gen 10. They don't need to support it on both. And given the graphical infidelity of the old console and what they're aiming to do, and the backlash they got from when Arceus first came out with all the lags, and then with Scarlet and Violet, they've basically just ripped apart the whole Pokemon conundrum. Like, you want to do battling? Sound. There you go. There's a free app. Go do it on there. You want to go do storyline? You've got to play it on the main console. And guess what? Your main console's coming out. There is your game. There's your flagship. Because, I mean, Zelda Breath of the Wild can't play it on any other console.
Yeah, but I think Zelda's different than Pokemon. No one's going to. There's not enough Zelda players in the world to hop. We're talking about a game in Pokemon that has a player install base of probably 30 to 100. Anyone who owns the Switch probably owns a Pokemon game. Yep. So let's look at the number of units sold for Pokemon and be like, hey, let's put our brand new game on this Switch 2, and we're going to hope that a fraction of them buy our game. They're not doing that. They won't do that.
They are. They're going to lock it. They're going to lock it behind a brand new console because they make enough money off Unite, Pogo, soon to be Champions. They have physically come out and said that the main games don't make them money. They don't anymore. The main games are a fraction, a drop in the ocean to what people spend on Unite. It's insane. I did not know that Unite was pulling those numbers. Unite has been keeping the Pokemon Company alive. And now they've got TCG Pocket, for Christ's sake. I mean, I'm watching streamers dump thousands a day just to open packs, virtual packs.
I mean, again, I like your thinking of it, but business-minded side of me just does not.
You're all going to get hard locked. And guess what? Not. You want this game, you're going to have to spend $500 on the new console, and they might give you the game for free.
See, that's where I'm like, I just hard disagree, because the Nintendo Switch, when Breath of the Wild was announced, right? Breath of the Wild, the game that everyone bought a Switch for, guess what it was also released on? The Wii U.
No one had a Wii U.
No one did, but they still released it on the Wii U. I had a Wii U. I played Zelda on the Wii U before I got a Switch. But no, I don't think that they would do that, because Nintendo doesn't do that. They don't hard launch a game, and Pokemon won't do it. While it is not a mainline game, it's still a game. Arceus sold what? Like a good, not as much as Scarlet and Violet, but it was only like a couple million below Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield, because it wasn't a mainline game. But it was nowhere near the low end of Let's Go. And it's a game that they put, honestly, 3 years of work on. And I think they're going to let it be on that. And I think what will happen is, so when the Switch 2 comes out, now if the games line up at the same exact time of the release, they're going to have like a Switch 2 version of the game. Just like,
of course. I think there's no other games in the works at the moment, is there?
No, we haven't seen shit for the Switch 2. It would be wild that if that Pokemon would announce a game and not say it's for the Switch 2.
Because we've got no Mario
coming now. We got nothing. All we've got is the only thing that we have got for the Nintendo Switch 2 is a screenshot of what looks to be a new Mario Kart game.
Of course, yeah. So Mario Kart 9 or whatever.
Now to say, and the thing is, when the Switch launched, it launched with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it launched with Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I think it launched with ARMS and Splatoon, and a Splatoon game, I think, in between there. They had 4 like main games at launch. And I think when the Switch 2 does get announced, they're going to have Mario Kart
9,
10, 9 or whatever. Yeah. Is it 9?
They might just skip it and go to 10.
No, they're going to have Mario Kart 9. I think Metroid Prime, for whatever the Metroid Prime game that they've been talking about for the past 7 years, is going to be launched with it. And I think it's going to be
Zelda Remastered.
some type of basic ass shit, and then it's going to be another game. Pokemon doesn't need Nintendo. Like Pokemon is like, Nintendo is basically like, hey, don't leave us, okay? Because we need you. Because Pokemon makes them so much fucking money. Pokemon is a system seller. And so when Gen 10 gets announced, I bet you $50 everyone and their mother is going to buy a fucking Switch 2. And that's what they're going to do. Now, they also need to see who wants to, because at least specifically in the United States of America, we don't know what the fuck's going on with our tariffs. Shit's about to be expensive as fuck. All right, if tariffs go through the roof.
Damn, I might have to bring you a Switch over, Lukey boy.
Yeah, the tariffs are going to go through the roof, right? And we don't know what the price of games are going to be in 6 months. And I don't think Nintendo is going to risk that thing, because at least in America, who knows who's going to be able to get a Switch 2 by just supply and demand and price point of entry. So I think going back to it, Legends ZA is not going to be a Switch 2 exclusive. This is not.
You wait. When next Pokemon Presents, when it comes up, exclusive. And it's like, well, they need to announce a console first. That's my overarching theory.
Here's the deal, all right? If you are right by this, and it's only if you're right, okay, I will buy you Legends ZA. All right, I'll buy you the game if it's for Switch 2. But you still have to buy the Switch 2. I'm not buying you that, but I'll buy you the game on Switch 2 if that thing is a Switch 2 exclusive, just to say you did tell me right. I know I'm right, and I'm not going to make you buy me the game because I know I'm right. But if you're right and you're against about 5% of what people are actually thinking, I will fork over. I will pay.
Just wait until I get a job in Nintendo. I'll come out with the little bit next podcast when it's about to release. I'll come out with the Nintendo shirt on.
You like pull your weight in Nintendo,
I've got some
and you're just like, you go up to Nintendo's like, hey, you know what would be really funny? Like, hey, let's just make Pokemon ZA just for the Switch 2, because my buddy doesn't think it's gonna happen.
We'll bring it out for the Switch later on, but just on release.
Just on release for the first 24 hours, okay? Oh my goodness. But guys, I think that wraps us up for the day, guys. Yeah, Pokemon Presents. We got a trailer. We got Pokemon Champions. I did think I speak for me and Jake both. We are excited to play Legends ZA. We're excited for Champions. Expect more Pokemon content. Obviously, that's one thing that we're known for here at Dual Hemisphere Hangout. We love to talk about our Pokemon. We love to talk about video games. We like to talk about boring adult life as well. But definitely, guys, with the new game coming out, a lot when we get more information, we're going to be touching on it. And when Champions gets announced, I will say this right before we leave, Jake. With the first second I saw Champions is the second I was like, you know what, Draft League could come back now.
Well, fast draft.
Make it
fast draft, definitely. Draft. All my attempts of retro fast draft and taking it back to the old gens don't need to do that anymore, because we got Megas. We'll probably have Gigantamax. I'm not going to lie. It's just as long as we can click the buttons that lets us do it. That's all I'm saying.
I think it saves like our ideas for Draft League. I think the fact
it's great.
The matter is, I'm at work. Hold on. Let me step away for 30 minutes. Whip out my phone. Log on to Pokemon Champions and do a quick battle. Play my match. Brilliant. But that's enough. We'll be on another tangent for another hour about how we can incorporate Champions for Draft League. But
exclusive to iPhone 13.
Well, guys, it's been great talking to you guys as always, man. Make sure you guys follow, big up, share the podcast, guys. We love you guys very much, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.